Hello everyone, here we are again at Pure Lagos for our African philosophy and Igbo class. Tonight we're going to tackle a very troubling topic from an African philosophical context. We will analyze this topic and hopefully gain some clarity and come to some kind of resolution or peace about it. It's female genital mutilation, otherwise known as female castration. This is a practice that has been occurring for hundreds of thousands of years in Africa.
Not thousands, hundreds of years.
No, thousands, hundreds of thousands.
Sure.
I'm not sure, but a long, long time. It predates colonialism.
Yeah, that's true, but that's still.
And it was
hundreds of years.
apparently practiced in ancient Egypt. It started in ancient Egypt, according to the research that I've done. They have pictures they found pictures in the tombs of circumcised women. So I'm hoping our master teacher here can help me and us understand why this is practiced, where it came from, why people started it, why people are still doing it. Mostly women do it to their daughters by way of what's called a midgan in Somalia. It probably has other names in other countries, but in Somalia, where 90% of the girls have this happen to them between the ages of 3 and 5. Sometimes later, if the parents can't find a midgan or can't afford one. A large percentage of the girls die, they bleed to death. And then those who survive have a lifetime of torture in that area, mental and physical. So why did this happen? From an evil way. Talk to us, please.
Sure. My humble opinion, and from the little research I've done, I think it's a translation of the corruption that entered the psychology and the philosophy of Africans. Once there's a corruption at the top, it seeps down through the entire system. And in true African cosmology and worldview, there's been a matriarchal system in a lot of African societies where the woman has a very important, sometimes superior role in society than the man. And in other societies, there's a shared responsibility. From ancient times, the example of ancient Egypt, the true ancients, there was, Amenhotep and Nefertiti were co-regents. They ruled as equals. So that example was what was meant to follow through into societies and into communities. But you found that with the resurgence of Amun worship and that dominance of the male and the bull, once you give power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. They then began to subjugate the female to the point that they started this mutilation, this brutal act, this unforgiving act. It makes me weep as an African when I think about the continuation of this horrible practice, and it just has to end.
Okay, yes, I agree. But it's well ingrained into the culture. In
Not every.
Somalia, in Kenya, in Senegal, parts of Senegal, not as much, but in even Nigeria,
Some parts.
in Ghana,
Some parts.
it's well ingrained. It's deeply rooted in the mindset that a woman is unclean if she hasn't had it done,
No, this is.
and unmarriageable.
No, this is obviously a lie, and it's been propagated by those who want to keep the women down. The women are the mothers of society. The men are afraid that they say that it makes them less promiscuous, but as a matter of fact, research shows that it does not, because it kills the sensation, the feeling, and it has very little effect in curbing their, because they don't have the desired effects from unions, so they look for it in multiple partners as opposed to the comfort you have in one. So it's a failed project, it's an inhuman project, and it just has to end. What I'm saying is that these societies that practice it, you can notice that in most aspects of the community and the society, it's backward, and it's just a function of the corruption that is in all aspects of that society.
What do you mean most aspects are backward?
In the other practices, when you look at where the woman is oppressed and put down, everything is backward. The healthcare is backward. Education is backward. Technology is not advanced. There's no education for women. There's no, that girl child, that Igbo proverb, that Igbo name, Nwakego, the girl child is more valuable than money, is not found in those societies. It's not encouraged, because the men are, I believe, weak, and their weakness comes to play in their attempts to oppress the women. It's not strong to have a wife who's unfeeling. It shows that you're a weak man if you can't keep, your wife or your woman or it tells on your society and in your lack of manhood that you have to just the thought
So
of it.
are humans less than animals? Because animals don't do that to their young.
Animals.
Why would a human being? What does that mean about Africa? First of all, humans. Secondly, about African peoples pre-colonial times. What does it mean about their thinking that they would come up with such a practice?
It's not only in African societies that this happens. This happens in India, in South America. Many societies around the world have this terrible practice, not just in Africa.
Well, it's concentrated in West Africa, where I would like to make a connection between that practice and slavery. I feel like having that sort of practice on a continent-wide level, or partial continent level, creates a force of such trauma from little girls daily having this done to them and having to either die or grow up in torture. And the whole community supporting it and watching it and hearing it and seeing the after effects of it and still promoting it. That kind of systemic trauma in the soul and of the land where these girls' blood is shed creates an invitation for, I think,
other evils.
yes.
I agree.
I even would go as far as to say that, when I read about this practice, I think, oh, thank God for the Europeans coming. Because at least once we got to slavery, we couldn't.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
Well,
But
it does,
sometimes-
because once we got over here, we didn't have the energy to be doing that. And that is a base level trauma
Yeah,
that a culture cannot sustain.
yeah.
God cannot, it's a base level.
I agree. Sometimes great evil is used to eschew other evils.
Yeah.
And there's a point there to be made, but you see, I feel that with every era, there's a refinement of knowledge and understanding. So sometimes, in 100 years ago, tribal marks were rampant in West Africa, where you'd mark people on their faces to identify where they're from. It's barbaric.
Well, not so much.
It's-
I mean,
I
it's
see
just
it's-
that we have tattooing here. It's
But
not
it's-
barbaric.
but
If you
it's- but
consent
it's-
to it and you're of age.
No, you don't consent. You don't have a choice. It's just, you scar your face with, a permanent scar. Would you like a scar to be down your face?
I would rather that than to be
No,
castrated.
it's not one or the other. It's just, I'm just saying, I'm just comparing. I'm not even comparing. I'm just saying that
Yeah, but that's like
these things were done away with the coming of the colonial era, because, like you said, there were other ways to identify people. So I'm not trying to say that that is good and the other one is bad or compare. All I'm trying to say is that sometimes great evil is used to eschew other evils. Not to say that evil in itself is good, but the Most High, God, has a way of, using terrible events to actualize some kind of good in the long run. Many things are wrong right now on the continent, but it doesn't mean that the continent itself is beyond redemption. It just means that those things have to be put right. Sometimes it's always important to know where you've gone wrong in order to realign yourself with right thinking and right practice. So some of these superstitions, some of these old ways have to die out fast. And I think it's a function of leadership on the continent, where by putting away these superstitions and these old wives' tales and replacing them with new platforms and new templates for progress, you do away with it. People themselves will see that this is not the right way. Sometimes you have to show people the right way for them to fall in line, because, the baton is not always the way. These people, they will tell you, we've been doing this for generations.
Yeah.
It's become part of their, let's say, subculture. So, to ask them to do away with it, they will tell you this is a Western idea or this is a foreign thing. You have to let them know, we have to let them know that this is folly. This is your own daughter. You can't do this to your own daughter. We have to teach them, show them that this is the wrong path. And nobody wants to be willfully wicked, I don't believe. But sometimes these...
Well, you said power corrupts, and I think
Sure, but that's because you're following the priest or the shaman or whoever is the head of the village who tell you this is the way.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to consent, because that is what you've been told by, leadership is so important on the continent.
Right.
So important.
Okay, we're going to take a little break. We'll be back.